Guys, continuing with our quadratics unit and specifically graphing and all the characteristics of graphing, our focus today is going to be on how do I go from one form to another. Okay, so first things first, we have our three different forms. We have vertex form, which says, I apologize guys, I'm yawning a lot tonight and I don't know why. Vertex form says a times x minus h squared plus k. Then we had standard form, and then finally intercept form. So, as frustrating as that might get, I've rewritten that every single time, every single set of notes so far because we have to have them memorized. If you, not trying to be mean, just trying to be very honest with you, if you do not understand the three forms, you will not pass this test because half the test is graphing. Well, if I don't know what the three different forms are, how can I make the graphs of each of them? And then the other half of the test is doing kind of what I'm going to talk to you about today, is going from one form to another. Again, if I don't know what the different forms are, how can I move from one to another? Okay, so I keep repeating what the three forms are, not to be a nuisance, but in hopes that they will sink in. Okay. So here's the gist of today. We're going to start with one form and we're going to convert it into another. So I'm going to start out with standard form. I'm going to show you how to convert a standard into vertex form first. First thing we're going to do is we have to calculate the vertex from standard form. Once I calculate my vertex, I'm then going to plug it into the vertex formula. Okay. So, if I look at this first problem, y equals x squared plus 6x plus 8. And I want to convert it into vertex form. I'm first going to calculate the vertex of my equation. Label all my pieces. Then, to find my vertex, I have to use my little formula. Negative b over 2a, which says opposite of B divided by 2 times A. Now that I have my x value, and I went ahead and wrote down -3 comma blank, what do I do to find y? I take the value of x that I found and I plug it into my equation for what? X. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to replace it with -3. So I would have -3 squared plus 6 times -3 plus 8. And so we end up with -1. All right, now that I know what my vertex is, here's where you have to know the formulas to make this make sense. Vertex form says y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. But now I want you to think about, how do we find the vertex from vertex form? We do opposite of h, comma k. Which we've already found the vertex from the other form. We said that the vertex is -3, -1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those values and I'm going to imagine them as the opposite of h, comma k. And I'm going to plug them back into what my formula should be. So I get y equals, what was the a of my original problem? 1 times x minus h, but h we always do the opposite of, so if my vertex is -3, the opposite of -3 would be +3. Plus k, but my k is -1. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing for the next problem. Okay. So now to get y, I'm going to take what I found for x and I'm going to plug it into my equation. And I end up getting -64. I know I'm going to vertex form, so if I think about how do I find the vertex from vertex form, that is my opposite of h, comma k. So then when I write my equation, I write y equals a, but what was a from my original problem? parentheses, x, opposite of h is -1. So to put it back into the equation, I'm going to turn it back into what the equation would have said, plus 1 squared, and then my k value. Okay, now we're going to talk about how we're going to go from standard form to intercept form. And to do this, we are simply going to factor. Yep, that's it. We just have to factor. Okay, so I have my standard form, y equals x squared plus 6x plus 8. I'm going to label my a, my b, my c, and I'm going to go through my process of factoring. In order to factor, I take a times c, and then I've got to figure out what are the factors of that. So I've got 1 times 8, which is 8. To make 6, I'm going to choose 2 and 4. 2 times 4 is positive 8. 2 plus 4 makes 6. So now I'm ready to split my 6 into the 2 and the 4, and then I'm going to group. Remember, once we group, we're taking out a GCF. So from x squared plus 2x, what do they have in common? An x, which then leaves me x plus 2. Then the second group, what does a 4x and an 8, what's the largest number they have in common? I have to take my sign as well. When I factor out the 4, I am left with x plus 2. Which then means I get the factors of x plus 4, x plus 2. And that is intercept form. Okay. This second example, I intentionally made it a little more complicated. Look at our forms. Everything has an A. Intercept form, the A is out front of everything. So, with my ABC, I probably need to see if I can take A, in this case, -16, out of all 3 terms. From here, I'm going to factor like normal. So I'm going to label my pieces, A, B, C. And I'm going to take A, which is 1, times C, which is -5. Gives me factors, or gives me -5. I make the 5 negative and the 1 positive, that allows me to split my negative 4. After factoring, I know I kind of quit talking for a minute, sorry. But factoring was last unit. We should be decent at factoring at this point. So after factoring, I get x minus 5, x plus 1. But my intercept form says it's got to have the a in front. Well, we took a out at the beginning, so what do I need to include? This good old negative 16 in the front. Okay. Now, we need to see how to go from vertex form, or let's start with intercept. Intercept form to standard form. We are going to distribute the 2 sets of parentheses. Then we will distribute whatever a is. And then finally combine like terms. Okay, and because I know that this video is starting to get a little lengthy, I'm only going to do one of each of these examples. But if you individually need more, just send me an email and I'll help you with more. So step 1 says distribute the parentheses. X times x. X times negative 1. Two times x, 2 times 1. But now, I have to take this 3 that was in front, the a value, and I'm going to distribute it to this set of parentheses. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times negative 1x is negative 3x. 3 times 2x, and 3 times negative 2. And then last but not least, combine like terms. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to go from vertex to standard form. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the parentheses squared and write it as whatever's in those parentheses twice. Then from here, it's the exact same steps as it was for intercept to standard form. We're going to distribute the 2 sets of parentheses. Then we'll distribute the a, and finally combine like terms. Okay, so first thing I have to do is I'm going to take what's in my parentheses squared and write it twice. So I'm going to rewrite my problem as -2, parentheses, x plus 3, parentheses, x plus 3 minus 1. Now I'm going to distribute those two sets of parentheses. X times x, x squared, x times 3, 3x, 3 times x, 3x, 3 times 3, 9. I'll put that back in parentheses, and I'm going to bring down my times 2 minus 1 that I haven't dealt with yet. To get rid of this new set of parentheses, I'm going to distribute my -2. -2 times x squared, -2x squared. -2 times 3x, -6x. -2 times 3x, -6x. -2 times 9, -18, and then I'm going to bring down the -1 that I haven't used yet. And then to wrap the problem up, I'm going to combine like terms.